Okay, so as far as the guys, this is the 26th. So as far as what we're gonna do with these, I kind of just recatalog these things again. Monday nights we're gonna cover what I call the back office stuff. Wednesday we'll cover like the front office stuff, and then Thursday is really still gonna be lenders and OPM. It's gonna be a lot of the financial stuff. And the reason I did that is just to kind of organize. Like we're still gonna start next week. Because all the back office deals with all your writing your LOIs, writing your offers, doing all that kind of stuff. That's all like back office stuff. You're not visible. Your front office stuff, you need to like look at that you're visible. That's your brand, that's your marketing, that's how you are, your public presence and all that is your front office, really. That's you, that's your that's people who when they recognize you, stuff like that. So that's your front office. Then you got your back office, which is like I said, writing all your OPMs, your contact tracker, all that kind of stuff, lead generation, all that tracking, all that more clerical stuff, accounting kind of stuff. And even though that would make sense being in financial business stuff, it's really what I look for in Thursdays is more on your lenders raising the capital, investors, that kind of stuff. The OPM side is what we're going to do on Thursdays. That just kind of organizes things a little bit better. So like next Monday night, we'll start doing LOIs and we'll start working on offers and contracts and templates. I've got a couple new ones. I got the escalation clause, which is great. Escalation is so it's kind of like eBay when you used to. I don't know, eBay still has it because I haven't done anything on eBay in a couple of years, but if you got like that, if you're trying to bid on an auction and it says, hey, you can raise it by $5 increments or whatever until it reaches a certain point, you can kind of compete with people. That's kind of like an escal. It's the same thing. So you could go, hey, I'm gonna set this at $100,000, but I'm gonna, it's 80,000 now, and every time somebody bids against me, I'm gonna bid a higher amount. Hey Zeke, it's just you and me. So, anything you want to talk about? I mean, real estate wise. I don't know how many more other people we're gonna get. So it could be some people are starting to get a little burned out.
Probably.
Yeah, I know. And I get so many people asking me stuff, and then it's like, I don't know, man. I still got to do stuff. I still got to kind of put some stuff on there. So, um, as far as what we're doing, raising capital wise and all that, Danny's going to be on Thursday night. He's going to talk about Agents Gather, pretty detailed. He's going to go over a lot of stuff on Agents Gather because it's blown up quite a bit. He's got a lot of new stuff on there that's really good. He's got the ability now to do video, to do chat on there, to do messaging. And then he's got that MLS thing for listings, which is pretty decent. It's going to be solid. It's not like a regular MLS though. Yeah, it's only really for listings. They won't be able to like find a lot of properties on there, but it'll help get them out there so people can actually, SEO and all that stuff. So it's a pretty good feature. There's not a whole. I mean, like I said, it's like some stuff. It's like there's some stuff, still new stuff I need to go over. The escalation and the termination agreement and stuff like that. There's a termination agreement is what you send if you're going to terminate a contract. John's coming back on. Looks like everybody has. There's a few people with some technical stuff. So that's kind of what. So that's going to be a pretty good discussion with Danny on Thursday. I know he had something going on tonight. He was going to try to be on tonight. Oh, Sean, I was just telling Zeke that Danny's going to be on Thursday night for talking about a lot of the changes on Agents Gather. So he's got a lot of good stuff, man. He's put some really good updates. They're really good. He's building it as he goes, and it's just incredible. And he's picking up a lot of paid. You guys obviously want him to get a lot of paid people. So he definitely would like people get a chance to promote it or something like that. You know, uh, things like that. Try to get some paid people, a lot of paid people over there, so we can that'll help him pay those bills on that. He's got to get some new get a new server and all that stuff, and he's got to get some money coming in for it. Get some servers and all that. It's because it's pretty going to grow pretty fast. I mean, it's literally picking up a lot of people. I think I probably had like I saw like 30 something new people in there over the weekend. So on the page, so he's getting people. That's a good sign. Then he can go over all the questions, and if he has any questions on how to blog or people aren't used to blogging. He's actually made it so you get a little bit more. I don't know what the term is. Maybe like it's weighted. maybe that's the term. It's weighted towards if you're just posting rather than blogging. So that way it encourage, because a lot of people don't have a lot of blogging experience. And when you ask them to blog, they're like, oh, I blog, what do I write about? And some people don't think they have writing skills. We talk about like going into Chat GPT and you can put the topic in there and he has the topics, you can put it in there. It's going to come out and Google is going to pick it up as it was done by AI unless you change a few things. So Danny's can go over like how you change the header and how you change the ending, the conclusion, and what you can put in the middle, how you can jack it up a little bit, Jazz, and then Google doesn't pick it up as AI. So that way you can actually, and then if you put it like in your company, you put your name, you put all that stuff in there, you put it in there within 24 to 48 hours, Google will index it. And the thing is that Agents Gather is still new. So a lot of times what happens if you guys see the bigger websites, the ones that have been out there a while, that you post something, Google picks it up right away. Google's indexing like literally in real time the whole day, just everything that's posted, all the traffic. It's not there yet. It's gonna be there. So that's kind of how he explained it. It's kind of like when it indexes and it picks up all the everything, and it's all the changes, all the additions, all the new stuff, all the content. So that's kind of how it works. So he's going to explain that a little bit because that's what he's exchanging with us in order to get some content on there. Like, so he'll do the SEO and optimization in exchange for getting content because that helps him get it indexed, and that'll help him get the paid people, $15 a month, which is pretty good. So it's a pretty good thing. And then next week we're gonna actually take the subscription out to LearnDesk. So I'll actually get the sign up for a year. It's about there's three different packages and there's like 8 different types of hosting. The 3 packages are if you want to, you get up to 1,000 subscribers, you get up to 5,000, you get up to or 10,000 or over. So at first I'm gonna get to 1,000, and then once I get to and then there's some different packages that what you can do and stuff like that, because you can go all in for like $250, $300 a year. It's not that much. I was like, holy crap, that's all they take. They don't take a percentage. You guys know that what's Lightspeed, what I was talking about before, Lightspeed gets a percentage. So Lightspeed is, so this is great with LearnDash. So Danny will get that percentage. We're talking $99 a month. Danny will take like $9 a month, and if we have 1,000 subscribers, 5,000 or whatever, he's making pretty decent money. But the fact that he only has to pay like a couple $100 a year, but he's obviously got to get some servers and stuff, and that'll be some cost to him. So that's a pretty good thing. So he's going to be on Thursday. Tonight, like I said, I was going to cover some raising capital stuff, but you guys aren't. Neither of you guys seem to be like you're going to be into that. So if you guys want it, I can do it. I can go over it. That's no
I
problem.
don't think you can ever talk too much about raising capital.
Well, I can do that. I can post the stuff I'm up that I've got.
Yeah.
Because I put a bunch of stuff together, I can kind of just go over a few things. I'm hoping that there's a few things that may be outdated, so I have to kind of tell people that they need to.
Right.
But most of the stuff I can reference to where they can go to find it, so they can find the current, because the SEC changes a lot of stuff. But I can post generally this few of the things so they can know where to go to. But I'm going to recommend anybody that's watching, if you're ever going to raise capital, you need to get in touch with Paul Vincent or one of the attorneys who does that, because like I posted today, and I posted all kidding aside, people can get in serious trouble for some of the stuff that gets done wrong.
Right.
You hope you just get a correction letter, because then there's nothing. They don't hold it on your record or anything like that. They kind of tell you to fix it. Once you fix it, the SEC forgets about it. That's the if you get one of those, it sucks, but you can fix it and you're good. It's when they escalate to enforcement from rather than a suggestion or a correction. And sometimes corrections are just minor things, but I tell people it's worth it if you're going to raise money to go spend the eight to $12,000 to get Paul or somebody to do it. It's well worth it to have a securities attorney. It actually goes a lot faster through. I think you guys on the last time I did this when I talked about how long it took me to get my Edgar, how to get my CIK number. It took me like almost a week. They don't screw around. You got to go in there and you got to put in a thing like it's like kind of like putting in a header or something like a URL, and you got to have it almost exact, like literally in a format. And I couldn't figure out the format. It was like the 7th day I finally got the format and finally accepted and gave me my CIK number. Kevin can tell you, I was like all happy because I was like getting frustrated when attorneys, you try to do it yourself. You can do it yourself. You go on the SEC's website. Yeah, I'll try to show you guys the form. And just let me pull up the form if I can. I'll show you this form and you guys can see where I'll kind of point out where I did it. So guys, everybody that's watching, if you're not on this, I'm just going to kind of pull up some of these things just from my own experience. just to kind of help you guys out. You know, if you guys ever gonna get into this, let me see if I should have it right to the SK. Let me see if I have that. Okay. Yep, that's right. That's one I had to where I how I saved it. So guys, so this is actually and so when I actually did, I don't know if I can actually if I did this is the form ID. It is crooked because you know this is I faxed it, things like that to somebody else, but it's called form ID. And so this is the what you actually file to get Edgar access. That Edgar is the SEC system. If you guys ever want some really dry reading material, like every single SEC filing is on Edgar. So you guys know, so this is our company PMA, and that's our private money authority. This is our just our address down in Denver. I don't have that address anymore. But you guys get into this. This is what you actually have to send. So I had to put all my stuff in there, and had to put you have to put your I had to put you have to put your personal email, and you had to put your business email and all that stuff. So it's kind of an interesting thing. I had to get it notarized, and so you send this in, and there's a website, right? So you got to go on the website, and you got to actually go in there and put the right format in for the name, and then it rejected it like 6 days in a row. It only lets you do it one time a day. You can get it. You can try to fix it that one time. If you don't fix it, then it kicks you out till the next day. The SEC is probably the nicest people on tech support. If you call them, you'll talk to ever in the government. And I just assume that's because they usually talk to a lot of hedge fund people and they have to kind of like, but they're nice people, but their website is very antiquated. You can imagine the government systems. So you got to have this all for it. You got to have your tax ID number. And so the CIK number is called the central index key, and they give you a number after you complete this form ID, and that is your account number. It is good for 1 year. So because we did not go through with the capital raise kind of got screwed, like everything else during COVID. So after a year, they added that they purge you. So every year. So I'm going to show you guys the actual form D that we did. But this is the form ID. This is actually the first form you have to submit to get, and this what this does is this form here gets you access to getting on Edgar. So you file this to get on Edgar, and then like I said, that process where I got held up for 6 days, 7 days, that's the second part of the process. So this goes in, then they give you access, you get a login and all that stuff, and then you go and you apply for your CIK number, which if you get it right the first time, it's like you can do it yourself. Law firms that do securities probably they have somebody that just does that, so they know what they're doing. So this is what they call form ID. Like I said, you gotta notarize it, things like that. There's a few other things. So that's just what they call the form ID. Which is kind of a cool thing for anybody that wants to know how to do it. Let me try to see what my form D is. Okay, I'll pull up my form D. Because we actually do have I have a blank form D. I don't have ours. Mainly because I had some other people involved with the company that I don't want to put their information out there. I still haven't learned how to really redact things yet. So let me see. Are you guys able to see this?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, cool. So this is actually Form D. This is what you file after you have your CIK number because you have to have your CIK number to go in, and you have to put that in there and then to open to file this, and then you can go in. It's a form fillable, so it's easy. So obviously you got to put your entity information, your issuer's identity. That's pretty simple. When the incorporation is, if it's over 5 years, if it's within 5 years, you can even put yet to be formed. They let you do that. This company has not been formed yet. And which is a surprising thing because you don't have to file Form D. There's a certain amount of government business days to file Form D, and you file it after you've raised really the first dollar. So that's kind of surprising that they would let you, yet to be formed. Principal place of business, contact information, and the related persons. And there is actually additional pages where you can put if you have more people like partners, like if you got 4 or 5 partners, you have to put everybody that's involved. So you got to put the related persons involved. Then you get down, I'll start showing a little bit more on on this. And when you get down to item 4 is where you start. Because here you've got like relationship with the executive officer, the director, or they a promoter. A promoter is just somebody who's, we talk about finders. Finders and promoters, people just promoting the capital raise. Then they give you a little room for clarification. But when you get down in here, is where you start got to look at like pooled investment fund. Where you guys and anybody that's really doing anything that like what we're doing, you'd want to put like if you are you going to be a private equity fund, maybe
Zeke, did he freeze?
He disappeared.
I just got a hi Sean. I just
I
got
was
a
wondering if it was me. Hey,
no, he just stopped in mid sentence. I'm like, what? I don't think he knows he stopped.
he'll figure it out. Nope, it made you the host, Zeke.
Huh?
You're in charge, Zeke.
I'm gonna send him a text.
Yeah.
Oh goodness me.
It's kind of funny that it made me the host. I don't know nothing about this Zoom stuff.
Did you guys see my text? My chat?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
He's not even on there anymore, though, Doris.
I know, but he has to see it. I'm going to text him on the phone.
Yeah, text him on the phone.
Ah,
I'll reach out to him. Here, I'll switch over and reach out to him.
okay.
Shit, now everybody's gone.
Oh, just you and I, Zeke.
Looks like it.
Uh-oh. So how you been? I guess we can chit chat. I don't think he knows.
I don't think so. Like I said, and this thing says it's still recording. I don't know what the deal is.
I guess I didn't have a recording, but that's okay. Um, just come out. I've never had to come back when I'm first out, so that's no big deal. Like I said, I can just tonight's going to be kind of a goofy one. I did have accredited investors, but let me pull up. Which, oh yeah, Form D. This isn't. You got to remember, I save things sometimes as I save things. So this is. Sorry, I know people like that. This is what we call the Form D fee schedule. So the Form CD fee schedule is what you actually. So like I said, you don't pay the SEC, you do pay the states. So this is NASA, not to be confused with the space agency. This actually tells you what you pay out. You can go here and I'm just going to go across the top and then I'll go down. So they got all these fees right for Form D if you're doing it. And these have the states. So in Alabama, a maximum lifetime fee is $300. You go into type fee, it's a fixed amount. There's some that are variable. Some will be like 1% of state offering if you're in Arkansas, $100 max, or $100 minimum, $500 max, no matter what you raise. If your winner is $1 billion, you're still $500 in the state of Arkansas. Late fees, there's multi-year discounts. You know, you get here in Colorado. Colorado's at $50 for a new notice fee. California's $300, things like that. So you get all the states. If you're gonna do all 50 states, you can just add up these numbers, just add up the number or add up the max, and you can come down to the bottom. And by the time you've added up all the states, you know exactly what it's going to take to you go through all those through Wyoming. Some states don't charge you anything. Some charge you like $50. So you guys can go through and figure this out. It's a company called NASA, and they basically, you saw it in the SEC form. So you basically pay NASA. You file this form. You check it off. They have a form you file with them. They basically then file. They basically pay all the states. They do it for you. They take. And then you don't pay them any money. So the states pay them when they have everything. They have all the states. I think they even have. Let's go down and look and see if they have any territories. Where's
Rico?
Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, Guam. See if they have Guam. No, they don't have Guam for some reason. That's
Yeah.
weird. So they have Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. They don't have there's some other ones besides Guam. I'm surprised because Guam's actually pretty big compared to what you'd actually think. Yeah, it's weird. They don't have Guam. So yeah, you file this with this NASA company, and they basically handle everything for you. You don't have to worry about it, guys. You can also know that. So the SEC, obviously they have, the enforcement division, which you don't really want to screw us because they're the people. They're not law enforcement. The SEC doesn't arrest you. They don't have arrest powers. They get the FBI to do it. But the states, a lot of the states have law enforcement. Some are directly connected to their state attorney general's office, and some are independent. Colorado has a Colorado Division of Securities, and they're Department of Revenue, and all of their agents are Department of Revenue law enforcement agencies. So, like the Division of Gaming in Colorado is under the Department of Revenue as well, and like the motor vehicle when not for license plates, but when people get DUIs and stuff, the motor vehicle people. So they have Department of Revenue law enforcement. The Division of Securities in Colorado has law enforcement power. So they'll do investigations, and they're not as nice as the SEC. If you just get a minor thing, like I said, they'll just send you a correction notice, and then you fix it and you're good. You might get a little fine, then you fix it, you're good. Unless you do something Ponzi or something like that, then it's like, you guys ever see, there's that American Greed episode where a guy is like, he's actually getting grilled by the SEC. It's in New York. It's in Manhattan. And he thinks he's happy because he thinks he's going to get away. He's got his car packed and everything. He's got cash, everything. He's smiling because the SEC is like, just stay in town. We'll be in touch. He thinks he's going to be able to go on the run. He goes down the elevator. The elevator door is open at the bottom. The FBI is waiting for him. It's like one of the best American Greed because that guy thought his car was in the parking garage and it was loaded, ready to go on the run. And he probably would have made it to Canada because he's not going to be a high profile. They're probably not going to call the border, the border crossing for Canada. Because obviously in New York, you're close to there. You're obviously close to the Canadian border. I don't think you'd be running to Mexico from New York. That would kind of be like a long trip. It is long to go to Mexico from Colorado. It's only 10 hours. I used to be the county fire chief in Las Cruces, and the southern border of my county was Mexico. I'll bring up a couple more because I know some of you guys have seen this before. Crowdfund. Let me pull up this. This is actually a new document. I know, Doris, you haven't even seen this one.
Nope.
Okay, so let me pull this up and make sure. Can you guys see it? The crowd
Not yet.
engine. Okay, let me pull it up again. I'm gonna pull up two more documents, and then I'm gonna kind of, because so this is called equity. This is just the only reason I'm pulling this up. Crowd Engine is actually you can pull them up a website. It's a crowdfunding. The only reason I'm pulling this up is because it kind of breaks some stuff down. So it's not like I've used Crowd Engine. They just really have a good organized, kind of like a cheat sheet. So if you guys get into like Title 506B and 506C, which are the two here on the left we're talking about, so you get into, like I said, Title 2, Rule 506B, so that's 506C. We're never really going to call them Title 2. I mean, that's just something they do. But they got Regulation A, Tier 1, and Tier 2. There have been some real estate investors like the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, which did these. The Tier 2, you can raise $50 million. People in Regulation A can do accredited and non-accredited. You can actually donate like 50. You can not donate. You can actually subscribe for like $50. So they did that with Tulsa Real Estate Fund, and people were able to buy like a minimum of 10 shares for like $500. So don't, but it's expensive because you've got to pay a securities attorney, and Tulsa had paid Jillian probably $20,000 for her work on it because she had to be involved for a whole year. So you guys know, like I said, if you're raising money through 506B, 506C on Form B, you don't have to pay anything to the SEC, and you don't have to file anything until you've raised $1. If you've hired a securities attorney on a Form D, you're probably, I'm going to say you're going to be right around 10,000. I don't, you have to Paul what his fee is, Jillian, Amy, those Merrill, Gene, they all charge a little bit different. Amy Wan has with Bootstrap Legal. She has more of an automated process. You can get her everything by like Friday one week, and then the next Friday she'll have everything done for you. It's almost automated. It's kind of a cool system. And she used to work with Gene and Jillian. But like I said, Paul's in our group. Paul's one of the best securities and real estate and syndication attorneys there is. So you guys reach, I just encourage anybody that's watching to kind of, chill out and, reach out to Paul, because he also has this Psychic Capital, and that's what he was talking about last week. It's kind of like if you're looking to get deals funded, he's got a company that can do it. Accredited, you can have up to 35 non-accredited if you're doing 506B. You want to do 506C because it's only accredited, but there's no limits on either. But the difference is you can have they have 2,000 accredited investors, but they got 12 months hold on investor liquidity. But you can actually market these. You can market a 506C to everywhere. You can put on LinkedIn, you can put on Facebook, you can put on Twitter, you can advertise it, all that stuff, but you can only take accredited investors. So this talks about general solicitation. That's what I'm talking about right now. No, you cannot do general solicitation and advertising with the B, or with the C you can. You can also test the waters on both of them. And so you can actually go out there and try to raise money. If you haven't raised $1, you can actually set it down and you don't have to do anything. So that's what they call test the waters. That's just in a nutshell, in a layman's term. Require a funding portal. No. In some situations, like you get into here, you don't want to do any of these because you do have to get like a FINRA. You have to register with FINRA. With a 506B, 506C, you don't have to do anything. Matter of fact, all you do is file that Form D once and you're done. You file the NASA paper form, pay the states, you're done. You never have to file anything again, ever. So you are done. Like I said, if you're doing, if you're doing a capital raise like $20 million, never have to file anything with the SEC again. So if you're just doing that one time, you get a filing required post-sale. So you got to see these other ones are all pre-sale. You got to file everything pre-sale for the tier 1, the tier 2. This other one gets into Title 3, which is more for, it's $1 million. That's all you can raise in a Title 3. It's more of a typical crowdfunding one. Well, this is what we're talking about, and then like I said, you can get in Regulation A. But you get into the situation, legal and accounting fees. We're talking about $5,000 to $20,000. But you get it over here, and you're talking about $40,000 to $150,000, $50,000 to $200,000. That's why you really don't want to do tier 1, tier 2, because your legal fees are going to be a lot less. Obviously, paying Paul or Gene or somebody, to do the paperwork for you. Ongoing requirements. You got to look at all these. There's yes and there's yes. There's no. You don't have to do any kind of ongoing requirements. You don't have to do any automated financials. If you're doing a tier over here, Regulation A tier 2, you gotta audited financials. All kinds of social sharing allowed. You can't do any social sharing if you're just gonna do the B. Everything else you can do social sharing. So that's Facebook, Twitter, and all that stuff. So this is it in a nutshell, guys. I'll post this actually in the group so people can actually see this on their own. But yeah, you want to look at regulation. My favorite one is just doing Rule 506C. So it's a pretty cool deal, and you can go out and raise. It says you do have a maximum of 2,000 accredited investors. So if you're gonna look to raise $100 million, you got to do the math and go how much is each one going to put in. If you're going out to family offices and hedge funds, they all almost all of them will qualify for accredited status. But like I said, I'm not going to show really the accredited because it changes. They just changed that, and they just changed those those binders we talked about before. a couple months ago on Finders. So let me see if I can show one more kind of we'll show exemptions and then we'll talk about some other things. So this is what I talked about, a little bit of exemptions. This is something I'll try to post. This is from the SEC's website again. Like I said, we're getting into there's that regulation A, there's a regulation D. This is the same thing we just looked at, only we looked at crowd engine. So you guys want to look over here where it says C and B, and it gets into bad actor rules disqualifications apply. There's a thing for bad actors. It mainly means if people have been charged with securities violations before, financial frauds, some other things. You'd be surprised what people can still do and actually not be a bad actor. It's pretty much really on financial crimes, things like that. It's not on, and it's mostly all federal, unless the people have had like a really serious state level, securities fraud, which the state does charge with securities fraud, and sometimes the state will charge and the SEC won't. It just depends on what the situation is. Tom Smith is coming on. So you got investor requirements, obviously limited. Like I said, if you do a regulation B, you can only have 35 sophisticated but non-accredited investors. So like I said, I'll try to put a link to where the SEC talks about the difference of how to qualify as an accredited investor and what is sophisticated. They have changed it where people are considered as sophisticated if they have a broker or they have somebody like if they have a financial advisor, and I forget which, off the top of my head, I forget which, what they're actually required, how the series license, the series sevens, and what the, like what stock brokers have. Because you get into broker dealers and you get all up to this like series 72 and series 67. There's a lot of them that get up there when you're talking about broker dealers and financial advisors that can qualify you if you have if you have like a series 67 financial advisor with fiduciary responsibility or something, you become sophisticated, but you could still be non-accredited. Accredited deals with a lot of times with there's a lot of changes, net worth and stuff like that, and you have to exclude the primary residence. So, like I said, because the SEC just updated that, I will actually just tell everybody just to look it up. If you look up SEC accredited investors, it'll come up with what the current requirements are. The SEC updated a lot of stuff in the last couple of years. The biggest changes was this regulation D. A lot of that came out of the Jobs Act. I think it was passed in 2017, I believe, but I think they started working on it during the Obama administration, but then it actually took effect during the Trump administration. And it basically was it was the Jobs Act, and it finalized, and it allowed people to raise a lot more money, and smaller type businesses, and more real estate, and like our industry, real estate and stuff like that. So that's kind of just Joe in a nutshell. I'll post these two documents just so people have it for grins. Well, like I said, having Paul in the group helps because Paul's one of the best securities and syndication real estate attorneys in the business. So he can ask, if you guys got any specific questions. The biggest thing, like I said, if you guys are going to raise any kind of money, you want to have a securities attorney. Don't do it yourself. I mean, you think it'd be simple. I mean, I've actually filled out a lot of these documents just to get good at it, just to kind of understand, what I need, because then I had to understand what I had to give to like a securities attorney if I'm going to raise money. I'd rather, then I know what I got to prepare for them. You don't need audited financials if you're doing regulation D, things like that. So there's things you don't have to give them. You can be a total startup and not have revenue. I mean, it's going to be hard to get people to invest, but the SEC lets you do it, and the states let you do it. So, like I said, those are the two things you got to do. You got to go through, get your Form ID, you got to get your CIK number, your central index key, file Form D. You file it after it's post sale. So if you've sold $10 worth of stock, or $10 in investors, then you can file. You have a certain amount of business days. It's usually about 21 business days that you have to file that Form D. And then NASA, which is the state form, and that, like I said, that has all those states, and has, we just saw Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands on there. So once you file that NASA form, you're done with the states as well. I mean, you're going to get letters from all the states back. They'll send them individually. They don't send it back through NASA, but you do pay. You just fill in the form. They have their form. You fill it out. and then you pay them. They pay all the states. Then all the states, over 30, 60 days, the states will send you the letters, and you're all registered. You're all good to go. You don't have to pay these anymore. There's maybe in some of the states where you have to pay like an ongoing fee, but there's not many. And I think there may be like 4 or 5, and you probably got to pay like $100 a year or whatever. So I mean, that's nothing when you're raising that kind of money. If you're raising, it's guys, when you guys go to Edgar and you look up like Tesla or Apple or somebody, you see all their, Grant Cardone is great if you guys look up Cardone Cap on Edgar, because Julian Sidoti is all over it. She's his securities attorney, and I've met Jillian a couple of times at different events and all that. She's one of the best securities attorneys as well. She also does a lot of free seminars. And so Paul's got a free seminar. I think he's got it this week. I posted a link. You guys can go in there and it was free. And I think you get a 15-minute call with him, which doesn't seem like much, but considering what attorneys charge for an hour, you get 15 minutes free. If you just want to talk about, hey, I might want to do this eventually. But Paul's in the group as well. So just post a question to the group if you guys ever gonna look at raising capital. It's the like I said, you want to get a securities attorney. It's a lot better to spend $10,000 on a securities attorney than spend $50,000 on a defense attorney. Because there are securities attorneys that do both. You don't want the defense attorney. There's actually a guy in Denver, his wife she was an anchor on Fox 31, which is the Fox affiliate, and he got in trouble for a Ponzi scheme. I don't think he's got a prison yet. A lot of times in those kind of schemes, they let people kind of try to pay some of the victims before their final sentencing, and that kind of mitigates it. Because they in those kind of crimes like Theranos and Madoff and all that, they kind of go by the dollar amount, and so if people can actually somehow pay some of their victims back or pay it all back, that can mitigate their sentence a lot of times. So his name's Tyler Tisdale. He's actually been convicted. They've given him time to pay everything back, and then he may just get civil fines or whatever instead of prison time. So his deal was he was involved with professional athletes. He wasn't involved in like real estate or anything like that. Like guys, like a lot of guys in the NFL and stuff get screwed up. Get screwed by people trying to take advantage of them. So that's kind of, just to say, there's a few other forms I'd show. And I do have a lot of these already in files tab. You guys just want these for grins. The only reason I'm covering it tonight, like I said, was people were asking about it. Like, hey, I'd like to raise some money or something like that, or raise some, instead of going to the lender route. Because you think about it, if you could raise your own fund, you could have like 5 million, you got a lot of, you got dry powder, you can act really fast, but there's things you got to do. You got to pay like management fees, or you put a 3% management fee, you got to worry about waterfall. They call pref, or pref is preferred return. And there's a lot of different terminology, guys. I'm not really going to get into it. Like I said, Paul could help you if you're going to ever do anything like that. You don't, if you're doing it just like a single, like a building, like multi-family apartment complex, you can do these individually for that particular, and that's what you're going to do. You see all these and you see them subscribe. When Rod Cleef does a multi-family complex, he's basically doing it for it's basically one project at a time, one acquisition at a time. And you guys saw that syndications analyzer that we have. Everybody has those. They do the numbers. They put the offer memorandums out. They'll do these Form D. They'll do the subscription agreement. They also have to have an investor qualification form, and it's basically has to be signed off by third parties like CPAs and stuff. When you have accredited investors, they're financial people or themselves that I think at a certain dollar amounts they can sign off on their own, but I think you qualify for accredited investors sometimes if you have, like I said, a financial planner at a certain level. And I mean, I'm not going to look the series up. It's like a series 72 or something. They can get, you guys go look at FINRA and you look at all those series licenses. There's a lot more out there than just dealing stock. Stockbrokers. You get a lot of stuff. So that's just kind of raising capital, just real quick, because people asked about it. If you guys need more, like I said, get with Paul. Get in Paul's webinar. It's free. He's not charging you for it. And you guys can reach out and see if you can't get in this one this week, because I know it's short notice. I posted it last week. Just reach out to Paul and see when he's going to do the next one. I get emails from like Julian and a couple of attorneys, so I try to pass them on and post them to you guys if they're going to be free. If they're not going to be a paid one, I'm usually, there's some that are paid. I probably won't, put it in there, but if it's going to be free or something, I can, you guys can get into, I'll try to get you in there. That way you can go and learn from because it's always great when you have the attorneys do it because they can do it, and Jillian got it. She actually had a client, wasn't real estate, but a guy actually did everything right. I mean, literally as an attorney, she did everything. The guy ended up doing some kind of Ponzi. And so she ended up having to pay like a $20,000 fine because she was the attorney, but it was done as a corrective notice. Like I said, the first thing the SEC does, if it's minor, they'll usually have you corrected. And sometimes they may have you pay a fine, but it doesn't go to criminal. Like I said, and like I said before, the SEC doesn't have a criminal, doesn't have law enforcement power. So you don't have to worry when they they just get their buddies to do it. They haven't, so yeah, like I said, so going back to the schedule, guys, Mondays, like I said, next week we'll start doing LOIs and offers. And then we're gonna start doing those as like case studies. A lot of people need that work. A lot of people need that, and they've been asking me like, let's go through and actually start doing some of these forms. I don't have a problem with that. I think everybody's kind of seen them now. Then Wednesday nights we'll do more niches. Like I said, we're gonna go like back office, front office, and then Thursday nights is kind of, I guess, still gonna be lenders. If you want a broker, if you want an affiliate, Basically is also going to be doing a lot of training for affiliates and people wanting to work with Life Changing in that group that he has, and that's part of their program. So I'm going to be in that one because I'm a little bit rusty on me doing it, and I want to get back into it because I made a lot of money doing that. So I'm going to be working a lot, but I'm going to be affiliate. What I try to do, and I can also tell you guys, some of you have seen it already, that I will, if I see somebody asking about I need a lender or something, I'll usually go first through the comments and make sure if there's anybody from our group that's already commented. If somebody's already said I can help you, I'm going to just go ahead and say I recommend this person. But I try to send a lot of people to you guys first. If there's not in there, then I'll try to get them, my own job for them. But I want to make sure that you guys have the opportunity to work with Casey because that's a phenomenal, what Clint and Ryan have put together is life changing for you. That's a pretty good deal. You could make 50, 60, you can make 5 to 6 figures just as an affiliate, and you don't have to do all the work that a broker does. Brokers do work. I mean, you still got to do it, and I loved doing it. That's how I learned a lot of this, was just by repetition and doing it for other client, 250 something clients. Well, so I recommend, if you guys want to get into that, you don't have to do a lot of the work if you don't want to be a lot. They call them loan officers and loan partners. I think the officers work for them, and the loan partners is still kind of independent. This is what I'm getting at. Like Addison and Casey are, and I think Chris is from our group is their loan officers. I think like Woolie's a loan partner, and that's kind of how they break it down. It's kind of cool. So yeah, that's kind of what we're going to be doing Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Virtual will definitely launch in the next 2 weeks. We'll have it up, and then but it won't be available to subscribe. You guys will have a link. You're in. So once you go in and you sign up on that link, it's never going to charge you. You're in the whole time. There'll be another link for people that aren't in the associates group who will pay $99 a month. And like I said, so Tom's endorsed since you guys came in after, I know Sean was here earlier, and I told Zeke already. So Danny from Agents Gather will be on Thursday night. He's going to go through Agents Gather completely, do a walkthrough and everything. He's added a lot of features. It's all the features. I mean, it's literally will help you guys if you guys take advantage of it. If you guys, it's going to be free to you guys until he can't. It's always going to be free to you to be a premium membership. He's never going to charge you guys. But as far as SEO and optimization and make it to the point where you can't like trade your content. That's what he's doing for us. He's trading. We write on there. You can post on there. You can do infographics. You can do, all that stuff in exchange that helps him get paying subscribers. And he charges $14.95 for a paying subscriber, which is a lot less. Bigger Pockets is like $75. I think he'll be like Bigger Pockets within 3 to 5 years. Easily, I think it's a lot better. Because it's not like forum based, like they are, and they get us discussions in there. Because a lot of my frustration is when I see, and you guys heard me, you guys probably on my soapbox a few times. These groups that have like 50,000 people, where somebody asks a question, they may get 100 responses and like 97 of them are wrong. some of them aren't wrong because of bad intentions. Some of them just, you guys know that game when you're like a kid, they probably did it at campus and stuff, where you have like 20 people in a line, they tell a story, and then by the time it gets down the line, the stories, there's nothing. So that's kind of how I feel some of these social media groups are. And I think that there's a lot of people that aren't doing it for bad intentions. They're just like, they just hear stuff over. You guys know that whole thing. You know, if you hear something 3 or 4 times, it's probably true. Well, that's probably, they're hearing a lot of the same stuff over and over and over again. And so they start getting down to, people like talk about private money versus hard money. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I can, just as a broker, if I'm working with life changing, I can probably save somebody money, getting them into 5 or 10% down through life changing. And even if I get if I'm a broker and I get like 2 points, I'm still saving them a lot of money, compared to them going out to a private lender that they always talk about the person that you know. Well, those are few and far between. I've actually, as long as I've been in this business and I talk about a lot, I go to my places up in Evergreen and stuff around and I talk to people about it. And I've never found anybody that like literally would have $1,500,000 to loan. I think honestly, I find more people online. That's why, I think it's a lot of people are like disingenuous. You may find people at the REA meetings, at the local meetings and stuff, but it's like, hey, try hitting up your local bar and start telling people you need to borrow 100 grand to buy a house and see what kind of look you get. It doesn't, and then it's a lot of stuff going on. We actually had a homicide in a little town called in the hills next to us on Saturday. So I'm kind of like, that was kind of an interesting situation. I actually was like, hey, the SWAT team's passing me. The armored vehicles for the SWAT team passed me. I'm driving through Evergreen, and they're going to arrest the guy. So yeah, that's pretty much, like I said, I just wanted to cover a little bit of basics. I'm not going to get into too much on the capital raise unless you guys are going to do it. Like I said, I mean, I can do a little bit more one-on-one, and then I just say talk to Paul, or talk to Jillian, or talk to Merrill. Any of those securities attorneys. So most of the ones that I recommend will give you like a 10-minute courtesy call just to kind of go through and go, okay, do this here. Here's my link. Here's the information. Here's where then you can talk about if you're going to engage them, what it costs. A lot of times there's also Reg D resources out of Denver. Actually, they're not too far away from where I pass them a lot. Let me stop there. I'm going to go ahead and put, this is a company in Denver that actually, they're actually next door to this place called Little Chicago, which is a restaurant I used to go to. They're actually like right next door. I used to see these guys in there all the time. So Reg D resources, and actually, they were about $10,000. They had a couple different options. I think you could get a portal. They would help you do all the paperwork. It's an attorney, but it's basically like it's like a mill. And they can do it for like 10 grand, I think it was. They set you up with an investor portal and all that stuff. So if you're doing a Reg D, and it talks about, there's a lot of Reg D stuff on there, so you can get some good information on there. But if you guys are really, like I said, you're going to go look at crowdfunding lawyers, you're going to go, you're going to look at Gene Trowbridge, you're going to look at Merrill Callister, Callister Law, Bootstrap Legal. Let me put another one in there just for you guys. Let me kind of pull up, sorry, I'm going the wrong button. Bootstraplegal.com is Amy Wan. And Amy is, like I said earlier, she has more of an automated system, which is kind of cool. Amy's into technology, but she's a securities attorney, so she is a licensed attorney. And she used to work for Jillian and Gene, and then Jillian and Gene have different companies now. Jillian kind of went to Puerto Rico with her husband, but she still does she does a lot of stuff with her, she still does it. You could hire her, but she's not like out there like practicing. So she'll still, she's still got her licenses and all that. So those are two, if you guys just want to research it, like Bootstrap Legal's awesome. Amy has a lot of good information. Any securities attorney that you guys need, like I said, you got Paul Vincent. Paul's in our group, and he's there for a reason. We've also got a couple guys that have joined the last couple weeks. We got a couple people. We got Dan joined. That's how it's pronounced his last name, Satowski. Dan's one of the top 1% guys in the business. Gary Ag is also joined. He's got a couple contacts that are looking to invest $500,000 of 4 or 5 of them. So it's a couple $1 million potentially. And you've also got like Brian Kramer still kind of loosely involved. He still wants to do a lot of stuff. He's talking to Gwen a lot. Gwen had a deal go last week. She had a gap deal close, and it was a couple people in our, I think one person in our group got paid on it. They weren't the one who were looking for the money out of the different. So I think she paid like 4 people on it, which was pretty good. To get a couple people paid on a gap deal is pretty good. She's had a few EMD deals go through. Cameron and Willie have about they're gonna have probably 10 people in that group in their program by the end of March. They got 5 now. Drew Michael has got his first property, working on his second property. 4 or 5 people in that group now. Like I said, there'll be 10 probably in our group. Maybe as many as 20 by the summer. That group's phenomenal if you guys want to get rental properties. So we got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of opportunity out there for people to get funding, get lenders and all that stuff. So like I said, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays still. Like I said, then you guys will probably start being able to get all the, we're gonna do a lot of the modules pre-recorded, but I'm still gonna have the associates group are still gonna have live. So we'll go back to 2 a week, and after April 28th, we won't be doing the Thursdays anymore. We'll be doing Mondays and Wednesdays, but all the most of everything that's going to be on the virtual is going to be pre-recorded. It'll be because it's going to be a lot of people doing it, guides. People that are actually going to be working with us, and you guys can be guides, or you can be facilitators. If you guys need a more direct, you guys need more of a direct, description of either or. I'm going to have something printed probably the next week and a half for it. Then I'm going to have a rough draft of what the response, what they are, and then we'll work out what the pool is. The revenue share pool is going to be will be about $30 of subscription, and there'll be a $15 subscription bonus pool, and that'll cover associates that will have a piece, and then equally, and then there will also be facilitators and guides, and you can be all three. So you can hit, I can get my associate, I can be a facilitator, and I can, if you have a specific topics, then it's going to be a little different. That'll where the bonus thing will come in. If I get somebody who's really strong in an area, then and that's all they do, they're more like a specialist rather than a generalist, then that'll come out of that like bonus pool where we'll pull together. We may pay them for we may pay them like $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever to do that program. Depending on how many people are in that program, there's going to be a structure, a compensation structure. But all associates are going to get it's gonna. So we get 5,000. We get 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 subscribers. Over that, that's a month. We're talking some pretty good money every month getting kicked out. I want to basically put money into your guys' pocket. Everybody who signed up. So we capped it at 150, but I'm gonna say we're probably gonna have about 125, which is good for you guys. It is a little bit more for the pool. So going over 100 helps. Because going in and telling people we already have 100 subscribed, you guys are all free for life, so you don't have to worry about it. But it still shows up in the numbers having 100 plus subscribers to open it. Because you guys ever saw the Social Network movie about Facebook? It's like he got his first investors when he got 500,000 subscribers or something. Is when Peter Thiel kicked in money. So yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Unless anybody has any comments or things like that. Hopefully the power doesn't go back out. And I think the Xcel Energy is out there doing something. So I don't know what I just saw their power truck. The time you missed it, I had a little power outage. I got knocked out. I went dark for 5 minutes. I had to come back on.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do a bit of the syndication stuff. It's something I'm working more towards. There is, like you said, there's that 35 limit, but there's an app called Vestor that allows unaccredited investors to invest in 506Cs is because they're investing in a fund that invests in that setup. And there's some different rules about whether it can be created specifically for that investment or not, but they've got all that worked out. Vestor is a pretty neat app. I'm familiar. The creator of it, Devon Reeves, she's pretty badass. But
I've just heard somebody mention. I didn't look into it, because I'm just trying to tell people I'm just posting what I checked on.
Yeah, no, it's just another option. So if people want to look at it or any have questions or anything like that. So,
And I'm more looking at it from the people who are looking to be the sponsors. Like if somebody's out there trying to do their first, they went to apartment comp. A couple of people asked me about it, and we got obviously Paul Vincent's in our group now.
yeah,
Securities, so that the syndication is turning on it. So I just want to make sure, for that, if people want to invest in things like that, like Tom just mentioned, there are ways to do it. Like I said, I mentioned the Tulsa Fund. You could do like, I got to check and see what their status was. I was more, hearing about them before COVID, so they may have been, I haven't researched them in a couple of years. I just make it
Yeah.
a reference point that they were doing like you could do like $500 in shares or whatever minimum, and they were doing the Regulation A,
yeah,
which is
yeah. So there's
super,
all sorts of tricks to get around it. Some more than other. If anybody has any questions or anything like that, like I'm always ready and willing to talk about it. It's something I've been working towards for quite a while to start knocking out some syndications. So
yeah. I mean, I just try to cover and show them. Here's where the forms are. If you guys want to pull them up, I put like 8 to 10 of them on our files tab just so people can they've changed, and all that stuff. So I got to update them because the SEC changes it all the time.
when was it? Just on a personal note, when was the last time you updated the promissory note stuff? Because I'm setting up, I'm setting up. I'm not gonna set up an LLC yet to start funding, but I'm gonna start doing some funding through Gwen and stuff like that. I got to move some things around to get checkbook control and things, but I just need a template.
I'll check and see what I've got actually that I don't have posted because I probably have about twice what I do. The reason I haven't posted is because a lot of people were new. I didn't want to like get people confused.
Yeah, I just need the most basic like promissory note. You know what I mean? That because it's all
I'll
gonna be.
research it. Let me research it tomorrow, see if I can get it up. If I can get one for you. If
I
not,
appreciate it.
I'll let you know that I don't. If I do think I have one. What's going to happen to the virtual is we're actually going to break it down. We're going to be able to break down like a repository or library actually in categories. Where it's not, Facebook doesn't let us do that.
Yeah, I just need, like I said, I just need something, just something basic right now so that I can have it be legal and followed through. And if the IRS comes sniffing around, I don't get my dick put in the dirt.
Because there's a few of them there's a few of them that people need some help with. I tried not to confuse people when people ask me for stuff. So I try to put it in there, and so I have to kind of tell everybody that if you guys go to Files tab and you see stuff that's kind of maybe duplicate, just go off the top to the stuff that's fresher, that's at the top when you first go in a file is kind of stuff I've updated. When you get down the bottom, I've got some stuff I've got to go and delete that, because there's some stuff I updated. The SEC changed some stuff in the last couple of years. They changed the credit investors rules, and they also came out with that finders. And the finders, I still have the proposed version. They have not yet put out the final version, and they have put out a safe harbor version now, where basically if you do this, we're going to give you safe harbor as long as you don't exceed the safe harbor limits. So I've tried to put some of that out there, but I haven't done a whole lot of stuff for people looking to raise capital. I just tell people, here's the attorneys to talk to. And, they all have all that information on their websites. And most of the ones that I know will give people like a 15-minute call.
Oh yeah. No, everyone you talked about is very good at it. Like I said, I was speaking more just from this other thing. I got so many irons in the fire, man.
Dude, that's what it's like everybody has. I mean, it's like, literally, I'm trying to get this virtual up now. We were going to have it up in 2020. I mean, literally, I was getting ready to push the button on it in March of 2020, like March 13th, 14th, and like 3 days later, hey, we're closed. The world is closed. It was kind of horrible. A lot of shit got screwed up then for everybody. But I actually remember that night when the governor of Colorado said, hey, we're closed, but the liquor stores are open. That was not a good idea.
Liquor stores and pot shops.
Oh yeah, dude, it was like, we're Colorado, I have the pot shops and all that shit. Yeah, it was some weird stuff. It's kind of interesting too, having my brother in the state legislature now, so it's like I hear about a lot of stuff before it ever happens. I see stuff because I go to my parents' house, and my brother sometimes goes up there to work alone, and he'll leave stuff. And my parents have an apartment that's kind of where my dad's collector car garage. And he works up there, and it's like I go up there sometimes. I'm like, I really don't know if I'm supposed to be looking at this stuff. But he just leaves up there while he's working on it for the legislature. There's a lot of but yeah, so yeah, I appreciate that feedback, Tom. I'll try to find that promissory note stuff tomorrow. I know I have it. If not, then like I said, well, I'll just post it if anybody has anything they can. Because we get so much stuff that I get from people in the group now, and we're I mean, God, every day I'm getting stuff. People are calling me and they've got this or that or something. We've got some people now that are coming. I mean, I've talked to Paul for so long, trying to get him in the group. I think people just start seeing, consistency that Whirl is out there. I'm always talking about it. We're like, now it's ready. You got 100 something people want me to get in there. Because I think when you got like 10 people, it's not really. When you start getting I think we've got a pretty decent reputation. So I know that like Jim Ingersoll and all that, he lets me post a lot in there. Danny's awesome, doing amazing on the Agents Gather too. I'm telling anybody that gets on there because he's not charging anybody. You pay the 99 cents just because it still works its way around trolls and spammers and stuff. But he gives everybody a free account that's associated with us, and it's an amazing place to go get some SEO and get on Google first and all that stuff. So if you guys are gonna be if you're gonna be doing anything raising capital wise, you might be able to actually, get out there faster with them when you advertise. And he'll probably, he'll still be doing it pretty much on a trade basis. Plus I drive by his office at least twice a day. So that helps a lot. If you guys go on Agents Gather, you see they're all evergreen, they're all listing. That log office building is where his office is. Then my bank's on the other side of that building. So yeah, there's not a lot more to go on to. I know we missed when I came back, we missed a little bit of that, but I think I'm just gonna tell everybody who's watching, who's not on, guys, if you're gonna raise capital, talk to Paul first or talk to any of these attorneys. Because they're gonna keep you out of you're not gonna be on lockup. It's kind of, unfortunately people get in trouble for some of this stuff. Guys, I have a lot of stuff, going on Wednesday and Thursday. So, for you guys, so on the next two Zooms, like I said, Danny will be here Thursday night. Wednesday night, we'll probably talk about a few more, documents and stuff that I haven't done just to kind of get all those out. Cause I want to get off of contracts and we're going to actually get into how to do them and actually doing them instead of just filling them. Cool. Thanks, Thomas. I'll talk to you later. I'll try to find that promissory. He's already gone. All right, guys. Zeke, Doris, you guys got anything?
No, I don't. I'm just trying to get myself situated. Actually I don't have anything, but I'm looking at Cretsy and LoopNet and another's website just to try to find some multifamily that not going under auction. I've seen to pick good ones that's going to auction. Mean they a little bit on the distress side.
Yeah, they're gonna be hard to get. They're gonna be hard to, in this situation to go to auction and actually have investors, and because you gotta almost jump on them.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta have everything in place. And I'd rather have you. I want to make it. Let's try to get this done for you, so I can get one done. So we can get you and Zeke too when you get you done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start looking into Wyoming as well.
Yeah, because another thing someone suggested is that I go through, I guess you call them over the counter.
Oh yeah.
The deed state, and I probably think I could find something, for 500, maybe 2K.
Yeah.
And the stuff that didn't sell at the auction.
Are you on? Are you already in talking to Willie and Cameron? I know you were trying to talk to Cameron, but
I was trying to talk to Cameron, but Willie sent me his site, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's wrong with my computer. It just keeps telling me there's an error on the page.
Okay.
And
Well, reach out to Willie because I've seen his page too, and I can see it. But yeah, I'll try to remind Willie too to, especially Zeke, were you trying to do that as well?
yeah,
that program. Okay.
I was thinking about doing it maybe.
Just follow up with Willie because Cameron's busy. Willie's kind of his rep for our group.
Okay.
So both of you guys to get in that program, and then, like I said, I'm hoping actually I'm thinking maybe at the end of the summer I'm gonna drive to Jackson Hole because I'm been there for a while. So that means I can stop by Riverton and see you when I'm on the way up there. I used to go to Jackson Hole with my dad every summer when I was like fifth, sixth, seventh grade. So I used to love Jackson Hole. I'd like to live up there, but I think it's the most. I think it's even more expensive to live there than Aspen.
Well, you know,
Uh,
Colorado is like New York. I don't care. It's Jack. It's expensive.
Yeah, it's pretty pricey here. There are some places that are less pricey that are here, but it's getting. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, in some places, I don't know, man. It's like I don't know where, but I really don't know where to go. I mean, people are like where I would go, like because you guys know, like when I was used to be in Las Cruces, I was looking. So I was looking at the apartment because I rented an apartment when I was down there for those 2 years. I was paying $600 a month. I had 2 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. It was 2-story. You know, had the kitchen, living room, had the dining room, had a washer. You know, with a half bath with a washer dryer. Had a balcony, had a carport. $600 a month, right? I just looked at the same apartment complex, that same unit's like only $900. It's only got up $300 in 18 years. I'm
That's
like,
not bad.
20 years. I'm like, wow, I know it's got hardwood floors, stainless steel. I'm like, crap, I should move down to back to Las Cruces. I'm still friends with a lot of guys at Las Cruces Fire. I work for the county, but some of my guys that were some of my volunteer firefighters at the time they got hired by the city fire department, and they're like one of my guys. He was like a rookie. He was a volunteer fire chief, like 20 years old. His dad had been the chief of the volunteer department. He went through the Las Cruces Fire Academy. He was he was like 2 years on the job at that point, and then he just retired as deputy chief. It's like that's a pretty, to be the number 2 chief at a department like that. 100, they got over 130, 150 firefighters. That's a pretty cool thing. So I've always wanted to go back down there as well, but it's like, there's a lot of things like that. I'm gonna go to UK and Ireland and Scotland in June. I'll tell everybody that because I'll try to Zoom over it at least once. Everybody will have enough notice to know I'm gonna be over for like a week. I'm going for Trooping the Color. People will actually laugh because it's like it used to be like the Queen's birthday, now it's the King's birthday or whatever, and they do that whole thing. The whole British military comes out and does that parade to the palace, and then they have the flyover.
Yeah.
I like that kind of stuff, so I want to go see that, and I'm going to go to Guinness. Obviously, and I want to go to Belfast, see where the Titanic got built, and then things
You're
like
gonna
that.
be safe over there by that time.
I don't know, it's pretty cool. My parents got me that.
I mean, it's gonna be safe for you to be over there in
Yeah.
Belfast.
Probably.
Okay.
I don't know. Belfast isn't usually. I'm not too worried about Belfast, but yeah, I don't know. Go to Dublin, Belfast, Edinburgh, and London. Kevin was like, "Hey, I should go." I said, "No, Kevin, because I don't trust you near Stonehenge. I don't want to be responsible for destroying Stonehenge."
You may lean on it. You'll lean on it, it'll fall over.
Kevin takes out Stonehenge. I guess we're not. I guess we're not coming back. Or we may be over here on an extended stay. All right. Yeah, dude. So yeah, let me do that. Both of you guys reach out to Willie for that, and then Doris will try to help you. Zeke, I'm gonna start looking in Wyoming too, because I just have like shit. It might be less expensive for me to move to Cheyenne. I'm still close enough to my mom and my parents to 2 hours away from everything. It's still pretty close. Cheyenne looks a lot less expensive to live than where I'm living now.
I don't know, because I was just looking at some of the.
I'll just miss the mountains because I live in the
I mean, like
pine trees.
it reminds me. I know it's wide open, but why would I want to pay $5 million for something that may cost me 800 here?
I don't know. I'm kind of at that point now too. I used to be like, because I was even looking at like, oh man, I'm gonna just take the recording off because not everyone needs to hear this. Sometimes I worry, like, hey, we talk about